Have you ever wondered what true liberation really means? Is it found in wealth, power, or the grand houses we build? Or is it something far beyond those things? This journey takes us from desire to liberation. Like a lotus, we can blossom and spread our fragrance across the universe. Consider Emperor Ashoka's transformation after the Kalinga War, or Draupadi's unfulfilled desires that teach us about longing. Lao Tzu's silent wisdom on emptiness speaks volumes. Diogenes showed fearless freedom before Alexander, and Guru Nanak's divine test of Angad reveals profound truths. This satsang guides us beyond attachment and ego. Liberation isn't about leaving the world behind. It's about living in it without clinging to it. Be the witness, untouched like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. Join us on this sacred journey. Your soul's fragrance is waiting to be released, and in that fragrance lies your true liberation.
This spiritual discourse is about from valuation to liberation, the soul's journey. First of all, we must understand what is this liberation that we desire. What do you feel from liberation? What do you understand by liberation? Liberation does not come from wealth. It does not come from grandeur. Liberation means you become completely free. We earn wealth and spend our whole lives only managing it, and even after death, by being born in the form of a snake, we still continue guarding that wealth. We build a house, and then our whole life goes into maintaining that house. We have no real sense of liberation. A person thinks, if he earns money, then his journey will be fulfilled, or he will be able to live happily. All these can give you only momentary happiness. The true purpose of liberation is that you become free, completely unattached from anywhere. Everything comes from the earth. Even the lotus emerges from mud. And when the lotus blossoms, you cannot even imagine that it came out of mud. In the same way, all of us have also originated from lust or desire. Our journey is to move from Kam or lust or desire to Ram, the divine, means liberation. Just as the journey of a flower is until it blossoms, but that is not the end of its journey. Until it offers its fragrance to the whole universe, the flower is not liberated. The flower is born from mud, it slowly grows, beauty comes into it, it blossoms, and after that its fragrance spreads into the universe. It goes into every particle of the cosmos. When its fragrance spreads into every particle of the universe, then the goal of its life is fulfilled. It has united itself with the cosmos. That is the liberation of the flower. In the same way, the liberation of a human being also happens only when we slowly grow, acquire knowledge, try to understand ourselves, and as we try to understand ourselves, we try to understand our soul. And just as fragrance comes out of a flower, in the same way if our soul comes out of this body of the 5 elements and spreads into the universe, then it is like the fragrance of the flower entering the cosmos. In the same way, if the fragrance of man, which is the soul, spreads into the universe, then that is his liberation. Otherwise, if it remains only within the body, remains with its wealth and possessions, keeps doing valuation of itself, keeps safeguarding its values, then there is no liberation for it. The journey of the soul is the journey of consciousness, the journey of merging into the universe. If in this life it does not merge with the cosmos, then understand it as a flower that emerged from mud but fell back into mud before blossoming. Our state is also the same. Only by rising above all our desires can we unite with the Supreme. For this, strength is necessary. A weak or impotent person cannot reach the divine. But God has already given us this strength, whether in the form of desire, or lust, or in the form of anger. We only have to transform this power. And the moment we transform it, we can properly evaluate the true worth of this power. Only then can we understand what importance this strength has in our life. And when we transform this strength, then and only then can we succeed in walking the soul's journey. Every person's past always begins in a tamasic state of darkness and ignorance. Because our very origin is from tamogun, quality of inertia and darkness. Just as the lotus originates from mud, in the same way our beginnings are in ignorance. But we are not meant to remain in that, we have to rise above it. Perhaps you know about King Ashoka. He was the grandson of Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya, whom Chanakya made into a powerful king, was the one who united India. Ashoka later came into Buddhism and spread its teachings far and wide. But if we look at Ashoka's childhood, before becoming a great king, he was of a very cruel nature. To obtain the throne, he had 99 of his brothers and cousins killed. Slowly, he expanded his kingdom and became the mighty Emperor Ashoka. When he fought the war of Kalinga, which is present-day Odisha, he emerged victorious. But after the war, when he went to the battlefield and saw the condition there, he was shaken to the core. Everywhere he looked, there were only corpses. Within him, he felt a sense of worthlessness. The one who once thought himself so valuable, now began to feel guilty. What will I gain by obtaining this kingdom? Such inner feelings arose in him. Then, he came into contact with a Buddhist monk, and by the grace of the Lord, all divine qualities began to manifest within him. Slowly, he became endowed with so many divine virtues that he completely stopped the expansion of his empire. The teachings of Buddhism influenced him so deeply that he had many stone pillars erected with the teachings of Lord Buddha inscribed upon them, many of which can still be seen today. The Ashoka Chakra from those times is even present on our Indian flag. He was so deeply moved by Buddhism that he spread it not only in India but also in other countries, Sri Lanka, Japan, and many lands abroad, dedicating his entire life to it. He did everything for the welfare of his people as well. All this was possible only because he evaluated his own life. He realized that the first 30 years of his life were spent only in slaughter and destruction. But slowly, when transformation came into his life, he himself began the spiritual journey, and also guided his countrymen onto that path. This is exactly the journey from valuation to liberation. We all know that Draupadi had 5 husbands. When Arjuna pierced the eye of the fish and won her in the Swayamvar, that is groom selection ceremony, he brought her home. Arjuna and Bhima were together, and on reaching home, they said to their mother, "We have brought something very wonderful for you." They did not say, "We have brought Draupadi." So their mother, in her innocence, replied, "If it is so wonderful, then the 5 brothers should share it equally." At that moment Arjuna and Bhima realized what they had said. And the mother too, when she came to know that it was not an object to be shared, but Draupadi herself, was astonished. The story goes that Lord Krishna then arrived. Krishna said, "What has come out of the mother's mouth must be fulfilled. Draupadi will have to become the wife of all 5 brothers." Hearing this, Draupadi looked deeply into Krishna's eyes. Then Krishna said to her, "You have forgotten your previous life. Recall it, or I will remind you. In your past birth, you wished that your husband should be very strong, a great archer, deeply compassionate, and highly knowledgeable. But all these qualities can never exist within one single person. One who is a great archer may not necessarily be wise. One who is very powerful may not necessarily have intelligence. When you desired all these qualities, and since all these qualities are divided among these 5 brothers, it was the Lord Himself who entered the mother's speech and made her say that the 5 brothers should share. Living with these 5, the evaluation of all your past desires will be completed. And only then will it be possible for you to walk on the path of liberation. In your life, such wondrous events will happen that in the end everything will dissolve into nothingness, and your soul will attain growth. To move from valuation to liberation, or towards emptiness or shunya, is the very sign of life. The Lord Himself creates such paths that even the desires of your previous birth are fulfilled, and yet you are able to walk on the path of liberation. There was a great knower, Guruji F. He was a great thinker and a great saint of his time. He performed the greatest of works in his life. He would build large ashrams. Whoever came to him as a disciple, he educated them. He would build great ashrams with all facilities. And when the ashram was completely established, disciples had already started living there, and the day of inauguration was fixed. 2 days before that very day, he would leave the ashram. He would assign responsibilities to others about who would take care of it, and then he himself would disappear. He did this not once, but many times in his life. When asked, "Why do you do this?" his answer was very touching. By doing this, I separate myself from my actions, so that I never remain attached to the creations made by me, and thus I may continue to work for the welfare of the world. To leave everything by one's own will is the highest path to liberation. Only this can take a person to the level of liberation. Just as a drop of water does not stay on the lotus leaf, in the same way, even after doing everything, no pride should come into me, and it does not. I never allow that drop of ego or attachment to remain on me. I separate myself before it settles. This too is a great means of reaching moksha or liberation. The great ones of the world have all followed this same principle. Lao Tzu, the great scholar of China, educated many people. But in the end, he realized that people do not truly follow the path that he taught them. One day, he left everything and slowly set out riding on a buffalo, trying to leave his country. When he reached the country's boundary, he was not allowed to go. He was told, "You are such a great scholar. Write down some methods, some paths, some knowledge for the people of this land in the form of a book. Only then may you leave the country." When he was urged again and again, he took a book, stayed there for 2 to 4 days, and later sealed the book and handed it over before leaving. When the book was opened, all the pages inside were empty. Nothing was written. Later, scholars understood that this was his greatest teaching, that knowledge means, become empty or shunya, in life. Adopt whichever method feels natural to you for becoming empty. Only after becoming empty can you walk on the path of God. Only then can you walk the path of liberation. Only then can you reach the divine. He also used to say, "The bigger the pot, the more money we pay for it." Why? Because what is inside the pot is emptiness. There is nothing inside. We are actually paying for emptiness. Therefore, if you increase emptiness in life, all your virtues will also increase. Secondly, he said, when you buy a house, you do not pay for the 4 walls. The value of the house depends on the emptiness within. The larger the house, the more space it occupies, the greater its emptiness, and accordingly its value increases. Thus, valuation is always because of emptiness. And emptiness itself is liberation, and liberation is the path leading to God. Mahavira and Gautama Buddha too adopted this very path. They left their homes, lived in emptiness, and in the end attained liberation and reached the divine. Once, Narada and the Lord were wandering in the universe. Narada said to the Lord, "You give so much suffering to some people, while to others you keep giving wealth and prosperity." The Lord smiled but did not say anything. When they came down to the earth, they went to the house of a merchant. The merchant did not pay any attention to them, nor did he properly welcome them. But as they were leaving, the Lord blessed him, saying, "May you have immense wealth and prosperity," and then they departed. After that, they went to the home of an old woman who had only one cow. With great love, she served them food, welcomed them with the best of her capacity, and cared for them wholeheartedly. But as they left, the Lord gave no blessing. Instead, he said to Narada, "Her cow will soon die." Narad then asked, "Lord, it is impossible to understand your vision." The Lord replied, "That wealthy man, I gave him more wealth and prosperity so that he may remain entangled in this world, so that liberation may never come to him. But this woman loved her cow deeply, and her end time is near. Therefore, I wished that her cow should die so that her attachment may be broken. When her attachment to the cow ends, when she has no worldly attachment left, then her attachment will naturally turn towards the Lord. When that state comes, she will very easily be liberated and united with me." Those whom the Lord wants to draw towards himself, he gives them some problems so that they may become free. They do not keep doing their own great valuations. And those whom the Lord wants to keep in the mire of this world, he gives them abundant wealth so that they may keep taking birth and keep leaving this world again and again. This is the Lord's play, to bring souls towards self-knowledge. A man once took all his wealth and boarded a boat, traveling from one island to another. He was very happy, thinking, "I will go to that island, live there, and peacefully spend the remaining years of my life." But the Lord wanted to unite him with himself. He was sailing joyfully, alone, with all his wealth. Suddenly, out of nowhere, another boat appeared, rushing towards him at great speed. There was no one in it. It seemed to be driven by the force of the storms. That boat struck his boat, and in a moment, he, along with all his wealth, was swallowed by the sea. When the Lord wishes to take someone into the state of liberation, he reduces their valuation to zero in an instant and unites them with himself. The Lord has many such ways. Another man was walking with great pride. Suddenly, a large branch of a tree fell on him. His leg broke, his arm broke. Now, whom could he blame? He could not blame the tree. The one who thought himself so valuable, in a single moment the Lord brought him to a state of nothingness. For years he remained on the bed. Then he realized, by coming into this state, I have actually become enriched within myself. This is the Lord's great grace, that by giving me suffering, the Lord has united me with himself. In Athens, there once lived a very wise man. He had a good house and all comforts of life. But then a thought arose in his mind, all this is nothing but my attachment. So, he left his house and possessions. He put on a simple cloak, took a stick in his hand, and carried a small bowl to drink water. He began living on the streets of Athens itself and ate whatever came his way. Later, he noticed that even a dog drinks water directly without needing a ball. So, he threw away his ball too and started living freely and joyfully. At that time, Plato was very famous. But this man did not agree with Plato's philosophy. He went to Plato's academy and told him, "You are deluding the world. You are teaching people to remain in attachment. With this, they will never attain liberation. What use is your knowledge?" Plato had no answer to his words. This man's name was Diogenes. He became well known in Athens. When Alexander the Great conquered lands and returned, he came to meet Diogenes in the city. Alexander came with many of his soldiers and said to him, "Ask me whatever you desire. I am ready to give you anything you want." Diogenes replied, "I don't need anything from you. Only step aside, for you are blocking my sunlight." The people around were astonished at this, that Alexander the Great, willing to give him everything, was simply asked to move aside. But Alexander did not take offense at this. Instead, he praised Diogenes, how carefree he is. How free from attachment. He is happy in every situation. Diogenes lived in the streets of Athens inside a tub. He had no house, no possessions. When his time of death approached, he told his followers, "When I die, throw my body away. Let the birds eat it." Such was his freedom, he had no attachment even to his body. His only connection was with the divine. And so it happened that on the very same day, by fortune, Alexander the Great also passed away. The story says that both met in the great ocean of existence. Diogenes told Alexander, "You see, all that you earned, you have had to leave behind and come empty-handed. But whatever I had, I carried with me. I was free before, and I am free now. You were bound before, and you are bound now." Thus, the one who does not measure or cling remains truly free, and walking on the path of liberation becomes effortless for him. There was a great enlightened being named Siddhartha. In his home, he was fully prosperous and happy, yet he did not feel true joy in household life. Taking blessings from his father, he went away into the mountains. With his friend, he tried to remain absorbed in the divine. He went into caves and there too made efforts to be one with God. But he did not succeed. Then he met Mahatma Buddha. Siddhartha asked him, "What have you attained in knowledge?" But Mahatma Buddha did not give any answer that could truly enrich Siddhartha. He only said, "Life is suffering, and one can be freed from suffering." Siddhartha was not satisfied with this. He left from there alone. He reached a city, where he came in contact with a woman. He felt very pleased in her company. that woman introduced him to a wealthy man. With his own wisdom, Siddhartha helped expand that man's business. He himself became wealthy, and he made the merchant wealthy too. But one day Siddhartha thought to himself, "What am I doing? I left my father's house, and here again I am caught up in wealth. I have seen life. Now I must go to the divine." So, he renounced it all, abandoning every value and possession, and began to live by the side of a river. He became a boatman, and lived in such emptiness that he became one with God. One day his old friend came to meet him. Seeing his friend, Siddhartha was overjoyed. The friend bowed to him and said, "Show me also some path." Siddhartha replied, "The path to God is never shown by another. It must be lived by oneself." Yet he was so moved by his friend's devotion that he said, "Kiss my forehead." As soon as the friend kissed his forehead, he attained Brahmagyana, the supreme knowledge, because such was his destiny, his inner effort, and his readiness. Through this, he too became one with God. And Siddhartha, rising into the supreme state of consciousness, merged into the superconsciousness, completely one with the divine. In his whole life, Siddhartha never made any evaluation of how wealthy a family he came from, how much wealth he had earned, or how he had lived. His bliss was only in living in complete emptiness, and in that emptiness, he found true joy. Therefore, if you wish to live in the world, you must evaluate everything. Everything has a value. You will find all things outside. But if you wish to remain with the divine, to remain in emptiness or shunyata, then you must remain with the witness or sakshi. Witness means the one who observes everything. You cannot see the witness, it is the witness who sees all. It is the witness who acts in all things. When your attention is on external sights as well as on the inner witness, you no longer evaluate anything. You remain only with the witness. When you stay with the witness, you do not need any wealth or possessions. You do not even need your breaths, for breaths come automatically with your birth. If in your lifetime you rise above the breaths, do not evaluate anything. Evaluation is only for the liberated state of the Supreme Being, and if walking on that path is your complete aim, then your consciousness can leave your physical body, become light, unite with the Lord, and traverse the entire universe. Just as the fragrance of a flower spreads in all directions, when your soul spreads everywhere, you too will become fragrant, you will become liberated. You must not evaluate anything, you must remain only with the witness. Whatever you receive in the world, renounce it of your own will. If you renounce everything willingly, you will reach the divine with ease. There is a very heart-touching story of Guru Nanak Sahib. When he was choosing another guru for his throne, he examined many disciples. Finally, he tested Angad. He told him, "Go live in a cremation ground. Angad went and stayed there. 2 days later, Guru Nanak Sahib came and saw a dead body covered with a white sheet. Guru Nanak Sahib said to him, "Eat this corpse." Angad's devotion to God and to Guru Nanak Sahib was so profound that it cannot be expressed in words. He only asked one question: should I eat it from the head or the feet? Hearing this, Guru Nanak Sahib was satisfied. He said, "Lift the sheet and eat from whichever side you wish." When Angad lifted the sheet, he found all kinds of delicious food placed underneath. Thus, even when the Lord tests you, He may confuse you, give you all kinds of wealth, and elevate you to that state. He even descends from His own throne and gives you that magnificent throne. This is the precious proof of the liberated state. When you become liberated, no attachment remains. Your surrender turns completely toward the divine. Even what you cannot imagine, you receive in life. This is the great grace of the Lord. Remain in the attitude of the witness. Do not evaluate. Hold no attachment to anything, not to wealth, not to desire, not to possessions. Do not hold any affection toward anyone. Only then can you be liberated. Then, like a flower, your fragrance will spread in all directions. This is the liberated state. May the Supreme Being take us all to such a liberated state. Thank you.